at any time lie to you, then for me, I would step out. I would step right away from that person and go, you know, if you didn't trust me after this amount of time and didn't tell me, you know, then if you're lying about this piece, what else are you lying about? Because this lie here puts everything else into question for me. You know, so making sure that you protect yourself in that manner. And if you did lie while you're on the internet, just like when you're in face-to-face, making sure that you come clean, making sure that you say, you know what, I was insecure, or I didn't think you would like me, and I was lying. You also mentioned, you know, sometimes you get the, you know, a man who's making believe he's a woman, or a woman who's making believe she's a man, or, you know, you get lies. And it goes back to, you know, how much are you revealing on the internet? How much are you going out there and putting yourself out? And I definitely, you know, especially with youngsters, because youngsters are also getting online, they're giving out a lot of information. Yep. You have a lot of young sites like MySpace, or what's the other one? Freaks. Vampire Freaks, Skonex. Freaks.net, Skodax, Bondage.com. I mean, there's kinky Christians. There's tons of stuff. You know, you even have the mingling and blah, 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 blah. And you have them in English and Spanish. So making sure that when you give your information, you don't give your address, you don't give your, you know, your full contact, your work number, you know, things like that. If you do give a home phone, then, you know, there is a way of finding out exactly where the person lives through the home phone. All you got to do is go anywho.com, right? And you do a reverse lookup, and boom, there you go. So in case you didn't know that, there you go. But it does give out all your personal information. So making sure how open are you? And you can always call the person. You know, and call them. Use a phone card to call them if you have to, which is one of the things that I find that a lot of married men will do. You know, getting over, I don't want the information on my cell phone, and you can't call home, but I'll call you when my partner isn't around, and I'll use a phone card because that doesn't show up on our phone bill. So, ways to cheat. We should do a thing. Ways to cheat.
There are plenty.
Yes. Other issues is, you know, understanding that people on the computer aren't just dots. And we kind of talked about this before. People tend to forget that the person on the other side of the computer is a real person. You know, it is a living, breathing person. If, you know, that Shakespeare thing, if you stab me, do I not bleed? Yes. Well, yes, I do. And the piece of it is, and I have to, you know, I've been guilty of this too, where before I got involved in internet dating, I had a friend who was just, I mean, her whole world revolved around that one. And about dating, and she would tell me, oh, well, this guy is this, and this is this, and this is that. And I'm going, you know, it's just a screen. There's just people, you know, typing, you know, big deal. And I couldn't see how she got so emotional and so carried away until I really started to realize that, you know what, it's not just dots on a screen. It is a person. It is emotions. It is yourself. I mean, you're actually, and I think on the internet, you actually open yourself up more, and you're much more vulnerable than you are in the dating scene at a bar, or, you know, at a social gathering where you're trying to meet somebody. Because when you see somebody for the first time in person, you're kind of closed off. You kind of do that British thing where you just, you know, hi, how are you? You know, and I'll let you in this close, but I won't tell you everything about myself. Whereas on the internet, you kind of like blurt it all out and tell them everything and all your most intimate details.
So which do you think is better?
And may not.
Is it better to be more closed off, or is it better to just say, hey, spread eagle, this is me?
I like the spread eagle part. I think it's, hey, this is me. If you're not going to accept me now, then why should I spend 6 months, a year of my life in a relationship that's not going to matter for you, that's not going to be open, that's not going to be what I want? And if I'm so afraid that you're going to reject me, then what else am I going to change in my life so that I'm not rejected? You know, and if I'm with you, even fearing my rejection, then that means that the person that I really want to be with, I can't be with them because I'm so concentrating on you. I'm so involved in this relationship where I'm trying to go crazy, trying to go, okay, well, will he like me? Will he like me? You know, will she like me? Will it be okay? Or if I do this, that person's going to dump me. You know, I mean, for me, I can't live my life like that. I can't live my life always not knowing, always afraid of the rejection, always afraid of will the relationship fall apart because I'm me. If you're in a relationship like that, you really have to consider, is this something that I really want? Is this something that is going to work for me? Because the thing I always joke about is, you know, as long as the frog is in your bed, your Prince Charming isn't walking in. Your princess isn't walking in. So you need to get rid of the frog and let the other person come in. So.
See, but no one comes in a frog. That's the problem.
Not everyone. Not everyone comes in a frog. I don't hear it a lot.
That's the problem. We have to weed through all the frogs.
We have to weed through the frogs.
To get to the princess.
But sometimes you want a frog.
Do we really want frogs?
I don't know. Some people do. You know, because it justifies. No, but at times people get into relationships that they don't want or that aren't the best relationship for them because they feel that's all they deserve. They feel that's all they should get, or that's the best they're going to get. And if you're in a relationship like that, then you need to really consider how to raise your self-esteem, how to bring your self-esteem up, because nobody deserves a demeaning relationship. And the piece that I find is that when I'm doing counseling with couples who've been together for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you know, most of them, when they come in, they're still fighting over stuff that they were fighting at when they first got together. And here's 5, 10, 20 years later, I'm like, you know, when do you guys retire? When does this end? And so understanding that, you know, if it's not working for you, get out. And if you don't want to get out, get help. And if help and getting out doesn't work, then shut up and bear it. You know,
I mean, those are your 3 choices.
Because you really have to put yourself out there. You really have to say, what do I really want? And I always used to watch the Fonz. Remember the Fonz from Happy Days?
Oh, okay.
And I love the fact that he would sit down and he would write a list of what he wanted. You know, I want my partner to look this way, act this way, be this way, have this education. You know, I mean, he had like 100-point list. The piece of that is that he was so comfortable with what he wanted. And he knew what he wanted. Because when you don't know what you want in a relationship, you're just going to grab anything. You're just going to open the door to anybody.
I think I would be absolutely horrified if someone were to bring a list of 100 things that they wanted.
Okay, baby, here's my list.
But, I mean, how realistic is that?
6'5"?
How realistic is that? Don't you have to give a little and take a little? Like, if you have a list of 10,
yes.
How about 8 out of the 10?
But see, that's the difference. You have 8 out of the 10. What if they didn't meet any of the 10 that you were?
If they didn't meet any, then it's time to leave. But does anyone really meet all 10 except for Ricky Martin? But does anybody really get all 10?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him.
Yeah, you know, that's the only person I can think of that would be
That's
perfect.
the piece, though. That's the piece that you have to look at and consider. Yes, there are compromises in every relationship.
You should take.
However, if you have 10 things that you want in a relationship and 10 things that you won't take, and the person that you want because you're lusting for them, you know, and I just want them really bad.
We've all been there with the lusting. Okay?
And so you want this person so bad, and here they have 2 things out of 10 that you would adore, and 8 things out of 10 that you can't stand. You know,
those numbers don't add up.
Lust or not lust? Do I just? And then that's where you would have to decide. You know, do I just want to have a quick fling with them and make the lust out of the way, or do I want a relationship with them? And understanding, you know what, they have, 5, 10 things that I can't stand. So am I really going to be true to myself by getting into this relationship? Mm-hmm. You know, it's the piece on relationships and knowing what you want. And the way I look at it is, we tend to ask God for, and I hate bringing religion into sex, but hey, it's sexy when it's religious and stuff too. You can do all kind of fantasies.
All those Catholics came from somewhere else.
Yeah, I was Catholic girl. But the piece is, we tend to ask God for money, right? Whenever you're broke, God, give me money. God, I want money. Please, I need some money. Give me money, right? And when you're walking down the street, there's a penny on the floor. Do you pick it up? Do you leave it there? And if you leave it there, why are you leaving it there? Didn't you ask for money? You didn't say, God, give me $100.